And let's do this one. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody.
All right.
How are you all feeling? It is a
Yeah.
fantastic Monday to be with you all. It might feel a little bit weird because Marcus
Yeah.
is, I think, flying. He's either flying or recovering. I'm not exactly sure.
I feel like when we talked with him, he would have landed like in South Dakota at this moment, and
That
like
sounds right.
he
That
was.
sounds right to me.
But nah, man. Like it's airplane travel. Anything can happen. Everything's always a
It's
half-hour wait.
it's airplane travel, and he's coming from somewhere that is literally 5 hours behind us.
Yeah, that too.
So who knows? Who knows when he's getting here? But
Yeah.
anyway, he is
Yeah.
taking some much needed time
Mhm.
off to rest and recover and kind of get back into it. Looks like he had a baller time out
Oh my
there in
gosh.
Hawaii. So glad he was able to do that. But
Man.
we've got a great show with you all. Guys, this is a
Beautiful.
potpourri. Brian, this is a potpourri episode.
It is.
We kind of have a little sprinkling of everything. So we're gonna
Little
talk
bit.
like a little Furiosa stuff.
Yep.
We're gonna talk a little like Pixar stuff. We're gonna talk
Yep.
Predator. I've got some comic book things that I want to get into. So we're just gonna
Yeah.
have like some miscellaneous shit that we're gonna get into. But more importantly, how are you doing, sir? Brian
Oh,
can't stop
kind.
reading Invincible. How are you?
I can't. I'm feeling good. This was like the first day of our summer routine here in the Rouse
Yeah, I get
household.
that. Love that, Brian.
Last day of school was last Friday for 2 of the kiddos.
Okay.
So like today was like the first day of like, we don't have school. And like as a parent, it's like that is 4 commitments I don't have to worry about. It's picking you up and dropping you off for each kid, which is great. I don't have to get in the car. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to wait anywhere.
Yep.
That's phenomenal. On the flip side, they're here all day. And I work from home. And my wife does work from home
Yeah.
too, but she works like the other shift. I basically work during the day, she works in the night. And essentially, that's a different rhythm that we are
Just a
getting used
smidge.
to.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a minor adjustment period happening right now for summer. And
Yeah.
also like as an adult, summer's a different energy. It zaps me more. Like you're outside more, you feel that heat. It just takes a little bit more energy to do stuff outside. But then you're like, it's so nice out. You know? So it's like this weird cyclical thing that keeps happening. So what about you, Doug? How are you?
Doing good. Came off. I get this, Brian. So we've been out of school for 2 weeks now.
Oh, you've been
And
out for 2 weeks.
Yeah, South Dakota's a
Wow.
different animal. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
so the first week Harrison was at home with me because he
Okay.
didn't have a daycare option.
Oh, wow.
So dude, I get it. Like you're trying to work from home, but also there's
Yeah.
somebody here that's like, "Hey, I have a question about, I don't know, everything in the world right now." And you're like, "Oh, can you just not? Like, can you wait for
Right.
me to finish what I'm doing?" So I get
Yeah.
that.
No,
This
absolutely eat them up.
last week
Yep.
on Tuesday, I went up to Minneapolis and I worked remotely
Excellent.
from up there. Let Harrison and Harper get some time with my parents. We got to see the
Wonderful.
grandparents, which was really great. And I took Harrison to his first Major League Soccer game, and I want to talk to us
Ooh.
briefly about that.
I see the loon hat. I see your
Yep.
loon hat.
Yep.
Okay.
So we went and
Minnesota
did that.
United.
Brian, this was an incredible experience.
Tell me everything.
If you all have not gone to a Major League Soccer game, first off, go, because the tickets are nothing. Like, so we got tickets that were in the front row
Nice.
on the sideline. And if this were like a football game, I would have paid $300 a piece. Minimum. And that's like a non-division rival. That might even be pre-season prices.
Right.
Brian, I paid $36 per ticket.
Per ticket? That's not bad at all.
And so we were right there. And so I went I went all out, and
Nice.
so
As you
Harrison got himself a little we got him like a jersey.
Yeah.
And when those players ran out and they were wearing the same jersey that he
Yeah.
was, he looked at me and he went, "They're wearing the same jersey." And I went, "Yep, they are, buddy. That's what they
Oh,
wear." And
man.
then when the mascot was wearing the same thing, he was like, "Dad, the loon's wearing the same thing I am." And so it was just really, really cool to see. The
Good.
other thing is that Harrison's at this age, and I don't know how Liam is, Brian.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
get, and I am so sorry, Brian. I get all of your kids' names. Who's the
That's okay.
oldest?
We got Liam's the
Liam is
oldest.
the oldest. Perfect. That's who I was
Good.
trying to
You're
talk
good.
about.
You
Um,
nailed it.
I nailed it. So Liam, I don't know how he is, but as Harrison's vocabulary has grown,
Yeah.
I'm routinely surprised when he uses a word correctly. Like, I'm like, "Oh no, yeah, yep, you nailed
Yeah,
it." So he kept saying to me on the drive back to my parents' place, he was like, "Dad, some of those were some phenomenal goals. They were just I was like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, it was just incredible to use the usage of the word that was
Oh,
correct,
man.
like, blew me away. So he had a great time.
Oh, that's so good.
He told me when we got back, he was like, "Can we watch them on TV too?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, we
You
can."
bet, man.
Yeah, so he's pretty jazzed about it.
Oh, that's so cool to hear that he had such a good time. Like,
Yes.
that's gonna be, like, a core memory for him.
It really is, and I'm in a core memory for me too, because this
Oh,
is the
good.
first time that, like, he and I, because like, I like baseball, but this is different because he and
Yeah.
I had just gotten done coaching him for his, like, soccer season, so this was, like, a
Oh.
perfect, like, transition for us. The other thing, Brian, is my son has started reading,
Okay. Yes.
and, like,
Familiar.
reading kind of trying to read on his own.
Mhm.
And there's a series of books that I shared with you all in the chat that I want to talk at length about.
Okay, okay.
A series called I Survived. Um,
I think I know where this is going. Okay.
Brian, these are the most insane
Yeah.
series of books I've ever
Yes.
heard, because on the one hand, there's some pretty cool, like, titles. I
Yeah.
survived an earthquake. I
Yes.
survived a shark attack. All relevant, right? Like, all like,
Yeah.
yep, okay, that's something you would survive. But then there's like these 4 or 5 of them where you're like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing to me, books? Like, what are you?"
Yeah.
I survived the D-Day invasion of 1944. I survived September 11th.
Yeah.
Brian, these are book titles.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so right now, because he was so jacked about it, one of the things that we did is we went to my parents live in the Bryn Mawr neighborhood in Minneapolis, and they just
Mhm.
got a bookstore that used to be a
Okay.
house that somebody turned into like a locally owned and
Mhm.
operated bookshop, which is really
Okay.
cool. And he
Cool.
found one of these books here. And of course, they're like scholastic books. So they were like
Yeah.
5 cents. And I was like, if he wants to read it, that's
I
fine.
mean,
And
yeah.
but the one he picked out was the I survived the D-Day invasion one.
Well,
And I started leafing through it, and I
yeah.
was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" Like, so Brian, I last night had to explain to my son who the Nazis were
Yes.
because he kept seeing the word over and
Yes.
over and over again and
Mhm.
didn't know what it was. And I'm not saying it's unreasonable for him not to know
Right.
what it is. He's 7.
Right.
Ostensibly, no one's taught him this, as
Yeah.
well they maybe shouldn't have,
I
like,
mean,
at age 7.
it's
So,
tough.
yeah, it's tough. So, it's just I don't know who thought it would be a great idea to say, like, because they're not reading about adults, they're reading about other kids. So this
Yeah.
is like a kid that survived the D-Day invasion.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a little bonkers to me, and that's
It
all I wanted to say.
No, I think I well, welcome to dad chat. No,
Mhm.
but I do feel like
Dad's in black and
this
white, or just
this
white.
this thing happened, what am I trying to say? I feel like I didn't learn about any of that stuff until I was in, like, middle school, and I didn't they my
Mhm.
education didn't necessarily be like, "These were the Nazis, these were the bad guys,
Yep.
and this is all the bad stuff they did." It was, like, talked around it, so, like, learned about Anne Frank, and they're like, "Hey,
Mhm.
Anne Frank had to go hide," and you're like, "Wow,
Well,
that sucks."
why'd she
And
have
then
to
the
hide? You're like,
Exactly. It was like,
"Wait a minute."
why were they hiding? Who were they hiding from? Why'd she have to hide? And like they were like, well, because she's Jewish. I'm in middle school. I don't know what that
Mhm.
means, right? Like, so basically they are like, I feel like this stuff is happening earlier, and I do feel like it's a good thing. But like as a parent, you're like, I didn't have these conversations until I was like a preteen.
No, I did
But
not.
with Liam, I had a very similar experience when we watched Captain America, First Avenger, and he was like, well, who are those guys? And I'm like, well, those are the Nazis. And he's like, oh, like, are they bad? And I was like, yup, they're bad.
They sure are.
We had a whole war about it. And he's like, really? I'm like, the whole world was involved. Like it was bad news. It was bad news.
Brian,
bears.
I explained to Harrison who Adolf Hitler was.
Oh,
and my son,
hits.
blessed his heart, was like, well, I mean, I don't think he like, because it's terrible. Like when you're like, he did terrible things. His knee-jerk reaction was like, well, I'm sure he didn't do it on purpose. And I was like, no, he did. He did it
at that age.
This was on purpose. And then bless Harrison's heart goes, well, I'm sure all the people who helped him, I'm sure there were some people who didn't want to. And I was like, fuck yeah, you're right. There probably were some people who really didn't want to, like, yeah, I don't. All right. Anyway, to your book, like, I was just like, son of a bitch. Like,
I mean, right? Because we're trying to raise these kids to be like, hey, give people the benefit of the doubt. I bet that person didn't mean to hit you. And then you're like talking about one of the worst people in history. Like, no, this person straight up bad. Don't get awful, evil. Don't even worry about it.
Destroy their faith in humanity at 7. Like you want to be like, yep, there probably were some who really didn't want to, but didn't have any other choice. Yep.
Like poor children, their upbringing is just full of all these contradictory statements and stories of like, hey, I wanna, do the right thing. I'm gonna do the right thing. No, not with this person. Not with this person. Wow. But yeah, I remember seeing those books because I think my nieces and nephew were reading those at some point, and I was around them, and it was like I survived this terrible thing, and I was like, kids are reading these. And then I thought about my own upbringing, and I was reading like these horror stories like Goosebumps. Like,
Goosebumps are like the story of the doll that came to life and then attempted to kill the whole family.
Say cheese and die. There's a camera and it kills people. I was like 4th grade, and I'm like, this is fine.
Yep, no worries. Oh, and by the way, I'm just gonna take pictures, and now we have like cameras in our pockets. This is not dad chat, so like let's pivot. Let's pivot into what we all came here for, which is movies, y'all. We do have a quote this week. We have a fill that quote. So without further ado, here goes. What are you doing here?
What? We have Marcus.
I love you so much.
Destin joining us from Oahu with love.
What time do you think it is?
My body is on 3 different time zones. I'm not gonna lie to you. We left Hawaii at our flight was at 1. Our flight was at 3 p.m. and landed in Minneapolis at 5 a.m.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
I was just sitting on the couch, and I was like, you know what? I miss my guys. And then I looked at the pictures of Harrison and all the kids that Bryan and Doug sent, and I was like, I'm just sitting here. I could just sit here and pod and just listen in.
That's true. Well, Marcus from Oahu with love. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I missed y'all. I missed y'all.
You too.
Welcome back from paradise.
How was the ocean?
It was salty. My cholesterol was high by the time I got done choking.
I want to get that checked.
I know, yeah. My doctors were like, "What the hell was you eating?"
You'd be like,
55 French fries, 55 shakes, 55 burgers,
55 burgers, 55 taters. I was eating all of it.
It was beautiful, man. The water, everything was beautiful. Everything was just it couldn't ask. The conference was great. The environment, the people,
content was great. Yep.
Was awesome.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
My favorite comment from the video. So Marcus, if you're not following Marcus on socials, follow him on socials. He posted this video of him in the ocean, and I was like, that's like the best part of being there, right?
Yeah.
But then he turns the camera around, and this wave just takes his ass out. And here's my favorite comment was the Board of Regents sent that wave to say know why you were there. It was I laughed out loud at length for a long time.
Listen, Matt, my boy Matty said they sent that wave to take me out, and I believe it, man.
Oh yeah.
The funniest part, I don't want to take, I don't know where everybody was,
but no, go.
The funniest part of that part of the trip was like, okay, black people in large bodies of water just ain't just like, you know what I mean? I don't think there's just that connection there that we just don't click like that, right? So I'm in the water, but Saeed's trying to get me to go further, like way out in the water. And John and Megan are just like swimming their asses off. They are like way out there with the little tour boats that like can take you all the way out there, right? So I'm in my little area, but the first time you go out there, it's not like a little wave pool. This is the Pacific Ocean. Okay. So I'm like, I'm trying to stand up on where the sand is to collect myself. Cause then I realized, okay, I went out there with my phone. My dumb ass realizes, okay, Marcus, you need 2 hands to swim and survive in the like Pacific Ocean. Like you can't, this isn't influencer time. Like you can't just be like fucking around. So I take the shout out to the waterproof case I got from Amazon for like $18 because that shit was like So take it back to the thing. People are laughing at me like, yeah, put that phone down. You are crazy. You are crazy, dude. Put the phone down. So I put the phone down. When I try to go back to the water, I lie to y'all not. It knocked me on my ass. Every time I tried to stand up, I was like a turtle on its back. It just kept spinning my dumb ass on the sand. And I just couldn't stand up and collect my feet. But you know what? I was like, the only thought I had was like, man, listen, if this is the way I go, like, that's not a bad way to go.
I mean, a belly full of fresh seafood and being killed by an ocean on a beautiful beach, that's fine. There are worse ways to go.
I was yelled before I do it. I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna die around some fine women, and all the girls was like, oh, stop, he's so cute. I was like, oh my god. So I
would pay money to see the video of it spinning you around.
Oh, my god. I felt like I was breakdancing on that damn sand.
I do want to see that. I would laugh at first.
For sure.
But
I expect nothing less.
I would want to see it. I would
too. Yeah. I would too. Yes.
Well, I mean, shall we get into catch that quotable? Fill that quotable.
Right on time.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you were right on time. Wow. You heard catch that quotable, and you're like, I feel like singing, and I don't really know why. But
I gotta get on there.
We'll play a little game we like to call catch that quotable.
We're playing
catch that quotable.
Silky sounds of Hawaiian Marcus. Gentlemen, are you ready? So this is a fill your quotable. I am going to read the quote. I'll do it with words removed. So I'll say blank for that one, and then we'll go from there. So, so here we go. Blank. Hey. Oh, sorry. Are you ready? No, Brian. This is important. It's important we do it right. Are you all ready?
Hit me.
So here we go. Blank population. You, bro. Pepper Brooks. Blank population. You, bro. No idea.
That blank could be anything. That's the first blank could be anything.
The other two are far too easy. I'll give them to you so you can read them because he gave us 3 of them, and I'll read all 3, but you're going to get the first 2, and the third one we're not going to get. So blank you, Chuck Norris, White Goodman. So it's from Dodgeball.
I mean, I know that. That's thank you, Chuck Norris.
No. It's fuck you, Chuck.
It's fuck you, Chuck Norris.
Is it really? Is it really?
Sure it is.
Oh my gosh, I need to watch that movie again. Never mind.
Yeah.
Is it Painville or is it like it's like
Loserville or like
Oh no. Is it Ouchtown? Population you, bro?
That sounds corny enough that might be it. I'm willing to go with that.
Yeah. So these are all from Dodgeball. So the second one is no blank makes me bleed my own blood. No one makes me bleed.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
I swear I said that on this
podcast. Yeah, Ouchtown.
Sushi special, bro. Admiral Akbar roll with eel sauce in the chat. That's a name, Roman. But also, okay. There is someone that says thank you, Chuck Norris. I swear in that movie, but maybe not. Maybe they dropped the F-bomb. I gotta go back and watch it. Okay.
It's been a minute since I've watched it.
It's either thank you, Chuck Norris, or fuck you, Chuck Norris in any context. It's never an in between.
I got an ellipsis. I think I got it wrong.
So I think it's Ouchtown, population you, bro. That's what I think it is.
All right. I mean, I'll trust your judgment.
Yeah, okay. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Sweet.
And drum roll, please.
There we are.
Yep. Ouchtown. Population U, bro.
Look at you, Doug.
Now,
digging deep.
Now, technically, I didn't get all of it because the quote is, "Ooh, Ouchtown, population U, bro." But I'm not going to count the ooh, and I will defer. I'm not going to count the ooh. Yeah. Well, there we go. We got all three.
Excellent.
So
Excellent. Is that a donate? Is that one thing?
How are we doing that?
I think it's one.
Guess you
I don't.
Guess you lost.
Fuck me, right? Like I guess I did. That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. We'll defer to
that's fine.
Roman on that one. He can.
That's fine.
Yeah. Before we get into some of the movie news, specifically, Brian, I want to hear your Pixar story. I want to let you all know about 2 comic books I read recently. Yes. One is very much my shit, and the second one is very much Brian's shit, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. So I'm going to do mine first because it's really easy. Here's what it is. There's a new Ghost Rider comic book out there, but the Ghost Rider comic is not with Ghost Rider. It's Wolverine becomes Ghost Rider, and it's literally called Hellverine. That is the name of it.
Yeah.
So, I saw the title, and I was like, well, I guess I have to get that, right? Like, I was looking around. There was nobody else in the store, and I said it out loud to myself. I was like, well, my hands are kind of tied here. Like, so.
You have to.
The general story is that someone tries to use Hellfire to bring back soldiers so the soldiers can be used for the military to go out and do special operations because of course they would.
Well, that sounds about right.
But one of Mephisto takes the spirit of the Ghost Rider away from Johnny Blaze and gives it to Wolverine. Well, it comes out over the course that you find out that it's not actually Wolverine. It's Wolverine's son, Daken, who now has that. And so Wolverine's being recruited to go and figure out like what's going on and why his son is A, alive, and B, how he's now and then imbued with the power of the Ghost Rider.
Excellent.
Okay. I'm in.
I mean, you got me.
Yeah. The other story, and Brian, this one is very much for you. So I started reading this new Avengers run called Avengers Twilight.
Oh yeah.
Have you read any of this at all?
I haven't, but I've heard a lot about it.
Okay.
Doug, you'll have to link these comics in the description.
I will. Yes, I absolutely will.
Yeah.
Avengers Twilight is set in like a future world where all your superheroes are old.
Excellent.
And all of your superheroes are old. Steve Rogers doesn't have the super soldier serum anymore. So he's really
white man.
So he's just an old white guy.
Just old white dude.
He's struggling with this identity of like he used to be a symbol that stood for something.
Right.
The America that he stood up for has gone away, and there's a lot around. That's a lot more of an authoritarian government. So there's curfews that they're enforcing. Also, they didn't get into that, but he does have a Hispanic lover whose name is Rosa, who I don't know.
Excellent. We love that.
Diversity.
At first you're not sure if it's her. At first you're not sure if it's his caretaker, but then you're like, oh no. Like that's
you're just reading. You're like, that's not.
Nope, that's it. But but anyway, so then in the first few pages they meet in a park and old Matt Murdock and old Luke Cage and old Captain America are all having a conversation. And the government has been given suits by the person in charge of Stark Industries is Tony Stark and Janet Van Dyne's son because they're married. And this is all like,
okay,
I'm old. Yeah. What do I do? Standing up to fascism. Like I'm no longer in the prime of my days. Right. And the first issue finishes off with Luke Cage convinces him to say like, no, we need someone who can stand up and be a symbol again. And the only person I can think of is Captain America. And so they give him the super soldier serum again. And so he comes back and that's how it finishes. But as I was reading this, I was like, these are all fucking Brian Roush themes. Like
Oh,
these are
man.
all like standing up to fascism.
Yes.
You're a little bit older. I mean, we know you're in middle age, Brian. So
I
so
am
like
firmly in middle age.
Being older, dealing with what you once were versus what you are now.
Oh yeah.
It was just like I read this whole thing, and I'll link them in the show notes. But it was one of those things where I was like, "This was just absolutely
that sounds spectacular.
That sounds good.
Oh man, I love that.
Yeah. But Brian, you wanted to chat a little bit about Pixar and get into some story time. So Brian, take it away.
Well, welcome to this our news episode or potpourri. We're going to be doing a little bit of everything, and one thing that I wanted to bring to our audience, to our listeners, to our co-hosts, we did a bit like this earlier last year when we broke down Chapek's essentially like his time at Disney and how awful it was. And we kind of did like a mini story time to break down this giant like
the toilet episode. You didn't have a nice toilet episode.
What we found out.
That'll definitely make them go back and watch.
That's when we learned Bob Iger lives for those 2 shower days, and we had to figure out if we had a Bob Iger bathroom, like what would our Bob Iger bathroom be?
He touches himself to himself.
Probably, maybe, I don't know. Chapek didn't get that shower office. It'll haunt him for the rest of his life, I'm sure. But Bloomberg had a piece that is very intentionally talking to the heads of Pixar, like their leadership team. And it is very much like, I'm going to say it's part puff piece and part like analysis of why the Pixar movies haven't been doing well, but it leaves out a lot. So I'm just going to hit you with some highlights here.
Please.
Of this piece. It came out Thursday, May 30th is when it came out.
Last week.
I didn't have a chance to read it because it's like a 12-minute read. It's there's a lot of details in here. But essentially it talks about, they were like, hey, ever since 2020, Pixar's been struggling. They don't really put this in context, but it's like financially, basically. And they put up this giant this graph I'm going to show you here. And I'm going to present it real quick here
for our audio listeners. Brian is sharing a graph here shortly. Article. We will link the article in the show notes so you can see it yourself. But he is sharing that with us here post haste. So here it comes.
All right.
Post haste.
So for some reason, thank you. My privileges are not working. I'll have to relog into StreamYard. That's a story for another day. Anyway, I'm gonna blow this up real quick.
Get it together, StreamYard.
I know I had to reset my browser, clear all my cookies, lost all my logins. It's been a whole thing.
That's
anyway. Basically, we come to this point where like they had Toy Story 4, which had made $1 billion with a B. So they're flying high. Just to like put it into context, they did Finding Dory in 2016, Cars 3, Coco, Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4, all bangers. Like the 3 of those 5 movies I listed made $1 billion. So everything except for Cars 3 and Coco. We then get to Onward, like 2020 strikes. Weirdly, they don't talk about Onward in this article a lot, but where they lay a lot of blame is Soul, Luca, Turning Red, and Lightyear. And they talk about these 4 movies as like these pariahs. They also bring up Elemental and how they were like, hey, Elemental, it wasn't a good thing for us. And like, basically they're talking around all these movies and they're like, well, they didn't really perform well. They get into how Pixar's cut 175 jobs. They've been restructuring. And the thing that really stood out to me, Pixar, the studio has not turned out a profit since 2022, which is 2 years ago.
Pixar, the studio, has not turned out a profit.
Yep.
Since 2022.
Let me get this right. It's Disney's movie studio. I take it back. Disney as a whole hasn't turned out a profit since 2022.
Got it. Okay.
And Disney blames this on Lightyear and Elemental.
Oh, that's a bold choice.
Right? Like you're gonna blame Lightyear and Elemental.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Didn't Elemental do good on? I thought
it did. It took a while to warm up, but it definitely did.
And that's the other thing. This article only mentions it for like a sentence. They're like, actually, Elemental went on to have some good tale to it, I think is what they call it. But it was like it had a terrible opening.
I don't like that at all.
No, but Elemental made $500 million. Like it was a success by I feel like
it did better than the good. According to your graph, it did better than like The Good Dinosaur.
Yes.
It also did better. There was another one in there that it did better than. That was like right before it went on that hit parade. But
pretty much.
That's also not good tail. That's just great ass making 500.
Okay, yeah, that should be our term here for our movie analysis. This movie's got a great ass.
That movie's got a great ass,
and it's got its head all the way up.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like Elemental ended up doing incredibly well, but they're like, not so much. No. So like the Pixar people are like interviewed for this article. We're like, that didn't do well for us. And so it goes on to say that Elio, I think I'm saying this right, was going to be their next movie, which is about a young kid who becomes the ambassador of Earth unexpectedly.
Cool.
But when the strikes happened, all the work stopped. And when they came back, the movie that was farther along to get out was Inside Out 2. So that changed, and they are now banking this whole new redirect, this entire new strategy of not doing these more original premise movies and doing sequels, and they're going to start out with like Inside Out 2. So Doug, Legion of Loons, I see your hand.
Really quick, Brian, and anywhere in this article does it mention the, I don't know, once in a lifetime global pandemic that we were all living through for 3 of these movies that came out?
Good boy.
Bizarre how they don't mention it.
Okay,
more.
Cool.
So, like, one of the things about it is like they talk about how they directly talk about in the article, like Pixar movies started going straight to Disney Plus, which was a decision from Chapek of how they wanted to distribute movies. Pixar no longer got a say in if something was a theatrical movie or a Disney Plus movie. But like they kind of dance around the fact that like, yeah, nobody went to the movie theaters like for 2020 and 2021. So yeah, of course it's going to impact your bottom line and your profits. But like they keep focusing on the movies themselves, which I don't really think are the problem, which really leads me to like the money quote that I feel like is one of the bigger problems here, which is in it. It kind of weaves its way through the whole piece, and I'm going to find it here. If you'll bear with me a moment.
No, take your time. We bear. Don't you worry, my brother.
Bear on.
So basically, they talked to the leadership team, and Morris is one of the Pixar in the leadership team. So their strategy now basically totally revolves around original movie ideas with sequels and spinoffs to remind the audience of the Pixar magic. So every hit that they've done is now being considered for a reboot or a sequel. And one of the things that they're saying is like, hey, we don't want to focus on the catharsis of people's personal stories or people who wrote these and directed these. We want to focus on a broader demographic.
So we want to make them not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to take the reason why they're enjoyable to watch, and we want to remove that element.
The direct quote here from Bloomberg, from Doctor, I think is how we pronounce it, and I think he's the chief creative officer here. He's like, the studio's movies should be less of a pursuit of any director's catharsis and instead speak to the commonality of experience. And I just like,
I know what that means.
Huh?
I hear the dog.
You know exactly what that means.
I know what that means.
Yep, there it is.
I know what that means.
And then you look back at the movies that they're like, oh, we're not super like excited about the movie about a woman growing up. We're not excited about the black man who died and needed to come back for music.
We're not excited about the 2 different elements that have a love story but come from different sides of the tracks.
Two cultural references.
I mean,
I know what that means.
You know exactly what it means. It's just like, oh no, we're not gonna do that.
Man, I wish we had a dog's barking sound effect.
Yes,
I wish
that would be
like every time that there was one whistled, we could just be like, like we could just like just get it.
And the wild part is like, I guess Lightyear was a really big piece of this foundation of this shift because like they were like, oh, this is a sequel. This is Toy Story,
cool.
Toy Story. And like it just didn't perform well for them.
Well, you know why that is, Brian? They had that goddamn general who had a wife when she was a woman. And there were so many things wrong with that, and that was clearly someone's woke agenda. I'm paraphrasing and being being
pretty much it. And so like when they did these, they did like all these postmortems, I guess, at the Pixar studio. Oh my gosh, there it is. There it is.
Yeah, that's what this is. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for doing that.
It. That's perfect. Yeah, instead speak to a commonality of experience. That's like the worst quote speak I've heard in a while.
Just say you don't want the woke shit. We don't like the diversity of ideas and thoughts.
To be honest, just say go woke, go broke. At least I get where you're, you know what I mean?
At least I know what you stand for. Like, but you know, if you say that to the Disney audience, that they are going to disagree with you because that's the exact reason why people fall for these stories.
Yes.
There's a story for everyone.
Well, and the wild thing about it is they're like, this article is basically being like, Inside Out 2 is next. Will they be able to do it? And it's like Inside Out is like the antithesis of this idea, because Inside Out is about a teenage girl with her emotions. And I am not a teenage girl with emotions, but I could relate to what Riley was going through. I could relate to that human condition. I can relate to like struggling with your feelings and what you want to feel or what you don't want to feel.
Hold the phone. Brian, you have emotions that you can relate to that all people have?
Yeah. I also have anger.
I don't know. I
don't know if people know this.
Sounds like leftist bullshit to me.
Talking about your feelings.
Goddamn. You know what? That's how we get to the wussification of males in this society. You know what? I there's just two emotions: beer drinking and getting some tail. I don't know.
And guns, because they always slide in guns. And guns.
Can
I push back on the movie Inside Out? I do feel like Inside Out is a little bit more broad, right? Because
it is. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily focus on the young lady as from what I can remember from the first movie. It doesn't really focus on her as her character. She's just the kind of vehicle for these generalistic characters that kind of sell toys and sell like those funky emoticon type characters. That's like, oh, rage is red and this is that. That's how I view it. Now, when I look at a movie like Soul is very specific to this man's experience as a black man and as a like going to the barbershop. That's something that I could see a white director of creativity or whatever the fuck his title is being like, I don't know what that means, so why is it in there? So we need something
work it out on me.
Yeah. Like, so that would be my only pushback in that. I don't know why Lightyear kind of gets the bum in. I don't know where that comes in.
I do think you make a good point about Inside Out, and it's the emotions you are probably more seeing than Riley itself. But like you are, I would say that is coming from like an original place where you are really trying to like feel this story. Like
I agree.
Right, because like it is the emotions, but we're still going through the base beats of like this kid moved, she's sad, she's running away. And it is this like personal narrative, but it connects with people. Like I talk to people and they're like, oh, Inside Out, I cry immediately. Like it's just it really hits those strings. And so I just think it's so hypocritical that they're like, anyway, we're doing sequels and the commonality of the experience, but we're doing a sequel to the movie that is a very specific experience about this teenage girl and her emotions. So I don't know what they're wanting to prove here exactly. And the idea that, I don't know, something like Luca, I'm going to take a step back here really quick. This is commentary. I'm taking a break from the summary here. But like Luca's like just about like, I'm a fish kid and I'm in an Italy town and I hope I win this triathlon. And it's like this really charming story of this kid growing up. And if that would have had a theatrical release, I would have loved to see people's reactions. But these movies never got a chance. Like they just immediately went to Disney Plus, and it was to fill the Disney Plus machine. And we've talked about that in our previous chapter episode.
And I also want to push back on the article itself, saying that these movies are the reasons why they did badly.
Right.
Because I remember right around like the year after Luca came out and the year after Soul came out, I remember that year, like January 2021 is when Brittany, the kids, and I went to Disney World.
Yeah.
And I remember noticing how absent Luca, Soul, and everything was from their merchandising and from the machine. And I was in the heart of like Disney territory. It's like going over to somebody's house and not seeing a picture of a relative. It's like, why isn't that there? Like, do you guys not like Rick? Like, what's his deal? Like, and so it's just, it's really weird to not see any of that on there. So part of me is like, maybe some of the onus is on Disney as a company to say, if you treat a movie like it's the redheaded stepchild, weird that if you don't put the machine behind it, weird that it's not going to do well.
Well, also the oversaturation of the way that you were pushing out content at that time too, right? To Disney Plus, that goes back to Chapek's idea of upload it directly to Disney Plus, right? And remove the releases process. If you to Doug, this is just like that was point A. This is point A1. If you don't promote this character from Soul, like this is bad, but I'm struggling to remember his name. But I think this is a part of what I'm trying to say is I didn't watch the Red movie.
Turning Red.
Turning Red.
I did not watch Turning Red. I did not watch Luca. I think we discussed it on this pod. I think you and
I did. Yeah, we did a bonus on that, I'm pretty sure.
We did.
But I didn't. And I don't know, that alignment of characters all has a single thread kind of tied to it. The diversity of the characters themselves.
I agree.
Because I kind of wanted to play a game of like, can each of you name me 3 Pixar movies? And I would tell you whether they would fall into Disney's new bucket or do they fall into the go woke or go broke bucket.
Seriously.
Because I still put Inside Out in that other category because we've had other stories about young ladies challenging their emotions, but just not in this capacity. But it's broad enough that you hit that demographic. Soul is just very fucking specific, and Luca also feels very fucking specific.
And Turning Red is very specific because I think if we're I think the proof of your point, Marcus, about Inside Out is if you stand it up and you compare it next to Turning Red, they are essentially similar stories, not the exact same story. The key differentiator is Turning Red is told through a Asian lens, an Asian cultural lens, and this dynamic that family plays in that environment. So Inside Out can stand is I would put in that one bucket, but that's why you have to put Turning Red in the other one. It's because this is a very specific cultural experience.
Right.
I would agree. And I count Inside Out, like that's a great example. I count Inside Out, I guess, viewing it like Toy Story. You didn't necessarily need Andy. Andy was there. But the story was about the
100%
toys.
Yeah.
The same with Inside Out is like Riley is there, but it's really about the emotions that are inside of Riley.
Yeah.
These other stories that were told that they are blaming, it's very direct and very, to me, obvious.
Yeah.
Why they're saying it didn't work and why it's not quote unquote broad enough or the thing that connects us all.
Well, and reading this piece, you learn that Pixar, and some people might know this, but the way Pixar does their movies is like when they during the process, their brain trust of leadership, like they'll give feedback to directors and the leadership team of that movie, but they have no direct control over it. And the more you think about it, the more it makes sense for like even their ups and downs, like the down of Cars 2 being like, we're going to be a spy thriller. It's like, okay, like, whatever, I guess you can try this. And then you get like those high highs of Coco where it's like, this little boy's going to die. He's going to go to the afterlife. And I mean, I know there's some magic fudgery happening, but the story's like, anyway, he's gonna go to heaven. He's dead, and if he stays there, he's really dead.
Well, he somehow gets
That is
into
the story,
I
Brian.
mean, that's essentially it, Brian. It's just the way you phrased it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to die to get there, but stays there too long.
Yeah.
That guy is going to be a skeleton.
He's not just dead. He's dead.
Yep, exactly. Did. Oh, yes, the commonality of language,
dead.
the dog whistle. Yes, we're firing on all cylinders tonight, people. And Coco, it made $800 million. It was about this.
Fuck, I didn't know that. Oh shit.
Yeah,
I almost choked on my spit
with his guitar, trying to meet his dad. Like that's what that movie's about. And then you want to look at flipping, I don't know, Soul and be like, nah.
But you didn't promote you. I agree with Doug. You just did. I don't know those characters enough. I watched. So I was hanging out with Megan. Sorry, this is dragging.
Do it.
Hanging out with my friend, my really good friend Megan Ray Churchill, who is married to Dr. John Little, for those that want another reference to, who's been on this podcast before.
Yep.
So those are my two close friends.
It's 6 degrees of black and white. I get it.
Yeah,
I
love it. I'll dissect that one later. So we were hanging out, and she wanted to go to the store in Hawaii. That the only other place they had this bag from Moana with the pig on it, the character of the pig was in this store. I forgot the name of the store. It was like a Lavray something. I would have never gone to that store as a single black man. I would have never guessed to walk in that store. Anyway, she said the only two places they had it was at Disney and this, and she took the time and she wanted to go and find this character. That's the type of dedication and being tied to a character that you need, that I don't think they did with Eternals. I don't think that Elemental. Jesus Christ.
They also didn't do it with
Eternals.
They also didn't do it with
Eternals. That was
a good crossover.
Well done. Well done.
Accidental.
That was deliberate. We got it. No. We know. That was intentional.
But they just didn't do it with these other movies for me to build a relationship. I think at one point they tried to put out golden clippers for Soul as part of, like, I don't know. It was like as part of the barbershop. I don't know the fuck going on. But and that's Jamie fucking Foxx. You know what I mean? Like that's a big fucking deal.
And Tina Fey.
And
Tina Fey plays together.
Yeah.
Leads. Like,
oh God, I forgot. Yeah.
What more do you want, people?
Yeah.
Like,
that should be a knockout the fucking park. So that's sorry. Keep going.
No, you're fine. I mean, so basically that's the part of the article. That's the part where it's just like, oh, I know what you mean when you mean you want to tell like more broad and common experiences, and that's crap. And you're gonna make your stuff so much more bland.
Ask Warner Brothers how that's going.
Serious? Yep, that's a great question.
Ask Sony how that's going. In fact, before you make that decision, go to Netflix and watch Morbius and see how that works out for you.
Or Madam Web.
Or fuck Madam Web.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like just trying to find this mass appeal thing is I hate it. It's just such a clear money grab, and what Pixar wasn't for so long, and why you could count on it to be a step above everything. Even when the competition got more fierce with like Illumination Studios with Despicable Me or Kung Fu Panda, anything like that from DreamWorks, like Pixar just had the special sauce. And so now what I'm going to end with is that one of their senior VPs, I'm trying to find her name, Lindsay Collins, is now tasked with essentially looking back at all the Pixar stuff, and from 2027 onwards, just finding a way to make new movies with everything from the past. So she essentially has the job of being like, how can we make a spin-off of Cars? Or how can we make a sequel to Finding Dory?
They tried that. It was called Planes, and nobody wanted to watch it.
Like, I forgot about this fucking movie.
You've done this before, man.
I remember that.
What's the story from Finding Nemo going to be? Oh, by the way, we found, those two crabs that were from Boston and arguing? We made a whole fucking movie about them.
You think that that's not true, though, but that's exactly what's going to happen.
Damn it. Lindsay called me.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Lindsay,
call me. I can help.
There's such a good quote here too. So she has teenage children. She mentions this in the article. Her son, and this is a quote. This is a quote. Her son, Cash, reminds her that sequels shouldn't feel opportunistic. Quote from Lindsay Collins. The other day, I was like, "What if I told you we were making Incredibles 3?" Her son, quote, said, "Money grab."
Shout out to that motherfucker. Huh?
Hey,
shout out to Cash.
This you got a seat on this pod, sir.
Because he called it immediately, and she mentions this in the article, and that's her entire job is to like look back and by 2027 have a whole slate of movies that are related to everything that came before basically 2019.
That's just lazy.
It feels like a death spiral, and I hope somebody talks them out of it. But I mean, like, I don't want to see a bug's life, a buggier life. I don't want to see Monsters University 2 senior year. I don't
a buggier life.
I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to see The Good Dinosaur Meteorite Bug Huggabaloza. I don't know. Like, it's at this
Meteorite Huggabaloza. Hugging a meteorite as a dinosaur is crazy.
Look, man, I don't know.
We're gonna do a Toy Story movie.
That's
about a yo-yo that we call Ups and Downs.
Oh man, I mean, they already have Toy Story 5 in the pipeline. So it means that she'll probably be like, hey, what if we did a Toy Story 6, but like it's just Bonnie, it's just the girl that had the toys, but not the toys themselves.
Andy comes back and adopts Bonnie, and now they both have the same kid.
And now it's gonna be something bonkers.
This is where, I mean, like, say what you want about the movie Sausage Party, it's gross,
sure,
but I do appreciate, like, you need a Seth Rogen in there to be like, Seth Rogen, I want you to write a Toy Story-esque movie.
Oh man,
that is just about the toys that you buy in that special section of Walmart that you walk by and look at and go, not today, but then you keep walking. Like, and like that, I want to, like, you call it like growing up. Like, I don't know, like, you could do anything there, but you kind of want him to do it. I kind of want him to do it just to do it.
I mean, the idea of the rejects has kind of been touched on in some of the Toy Story stuff, but the idea that it's like a full-on, like, these are like the Suicide Squad of Toy Story, that would be really funny to me.
With a lovable plug as the lead.
Yeah, I'm into it. And then they would, like, I would love a sequence where they meet like the A+ toys, and they're like, well, we're not like you, but you suck. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Wait, hold on. I have questions. The butt plug is an A+ toy? Oh no, it's technically a B.
No, I was talking about Toy Story toy.
Brian, Marcus, a butt plug is a Suicide Squad toy. You know, it knows where it's going. Like,
we took a huge turn.
Marcus, that has a specific use. Okay, like, it's
so butt plugs and anal.
That was not the toys I was thinking of. Okay, got it.
Brian, I said a lovable butt plug, and you're like, I'm into it. I was like, fuck, Brian. Really?
I definitely didn't hear that.
No, so Doug, you dropped out, but I heard you loud and clear even when you dropped out.
Totally
your audio dropped out.
Yeah, that's why I like these. That's where my internet comes back to bite you.
Yeah, so Toy Story 7 takes place in Spencer's Gifts.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's I mean, the audience would have grown up by then. Toy Story came out in like 1999, I want to say.
A pair of nipple piercings as toys, speakable figures played by who's the lady that I don't really care for sometimes. Aquafina.
I thought I was trying to think about the Academy Award winning actress. Meryl Streep plays the.
I love
Meryl Streep.
Doug does not like Meryl Streep.
I do not. Meryl Streep plays the nudie pen that when you turn it one way, its clothes comes off. And you turn it
honestly,
the other way,
this isn't too far off. Actually, like, I'm waiting for Mark Strong to be like the inappropriate T-shirt that never gets picked up. But anyway. We are that is pretty much that is a summary of this Pixar
great. That's fucking great, Brian.
Piece. It's really sad because it just really feels like Pixar looked at the past and was like, these movies could I be out of touch, and maybe people didn't want to go to movie theaters from 2020 to like recently. No, the stories must have been awful. Like, it's lazy. It's just all the wrong lessons.
That's probably woke agenda, right?
I mean, It also doesn't help that Chapek basically hijacked all of their hard work to just make Disney Plus look better. And they didn't even get a chance to have it in a theater. And now Bob Iger's in the unenviable position of like, look, I know you all make good movies, but we need bangers and we need them now. You know, like that's why they're doing Frozen 3 and Toy Story 5, because he knows he's got to fix it, and he knows sequels are the way to do it. So it's funny. There's a quote in here that I'll end with is some of the Pixar employees were like, oh, once we start doing straight to streaming, it's a death spiral. And it's like, man, I think this is a death spiral of just taking out any edge, like just rubbing all the edges down until there's nothing left that everybody can grab onto, when it's just like you keep doing that and there's going to be nothing there to hold. Like it's sad, because Pixar used to be this like symbol of quality, and after reading this, it's like, I don't know, will it be in 5 years? I don't know, man.
And I don't want to tie the basic or unseasoned to just being like white creators, because I don't think that that's fair, right? It's not a matter of like white versus people of color who provides a better story. There's a story that comes from all of us. I think what I'm more disappointed is the diversity of thought, right? The diversity 100%. Of ideas that come from super creatives. We've interviewed creatives on this podcast. We talk to creatives. All three of us are creatives in different capacities. Like we have a certain itch that we have, and when you go and you try to box us in to just duplicate the same thing and not offer like a new voice to anything,
right?
It will work for a couple years, a few years, of course.
Yeah,
but you'll end up in the same boat that you were when they started telling those stories in the first place, I think. And then now what? Or somebody else will pick that up, and there's other options where people can tell this story or do it on their own and make a shit ton of money, and then you try to hire them on the back end. I just think you are, I don't know, you're playing a dangerous game there. But
yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. But well, you know what, Brian? Way to break it down. We were kind of acting a little foolish there for a while, but you broke that down real well.
You did it.
Hey, that's all right. Thanks for letting me do a story time moment here with this giant Bloomberg piece. We'll link it, and you can subscribe if you want, but it is a chunker of an article. There's some history of Pixar in there if that's your jam, with Steve Jobs and Lucasfilm and how that all came to be. So if that's your jam, check it out. Otherwise, that's the highlights here.
Awesome. We got a glimpse, speaking of sort of chunkers and movies that we're not sure how they're going to work out. We got the trailer for Venom 3, the final chapter today.
Oh yeah.
And
the Last Dance.
Whatever.
The last
dance, the final chapter. I don't know. Same thing. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about like what we saw in the trailer, because this has been I mean, we've seen some like shots that Tom Hardy has released from like through Instagram of like different things. But I kind of wanted to talk about what we saw in the trailer. Somebody want to give it a breakdown? I can try, but does anybody else want to give it a breakdown?
I mean,
there's you can. I mean,
no, go. All you, man.
All right, so boom, we have the dynamic duo back again. Guess who's back again? Or Ground Control, the Major Tom. That was a song that they used in the trailer. And so Eddie Brock and Venom are back, and you see them kind of doing their little tag team duo thing. They're eating the heads off the bad guys, which is fair, right? You know, that's the rule. You eat the heads off the bad guys. And they are they're in sync. They're in lockstep with each other. It seems like there's a soldier, and he is played by, his name is, I want to get his name right. He has a very long name, but a very talented actor. It's a soldier or a scientist capturing different pieces of Venom from Venom's original home planet, from the symbiote planet. And so you can see the different types of Venom that they've captured already. They kind of go and they tease the capture of that loose piece of Venom, of symbiote. I'm sorry, I keep calling it Venom. Symbiote that was at the end of the No Way Home. Was it No Way Home credit scenes? Or was it Venom 2 credit scenes?
Yeah, it was No Way Home.
No Way Home. And so that was crawling across the bar. They captured that one that was at the bar because they're trying to tell people, we're not trying to let this get out. And in order for us not to let this get out, there's a war that's coming. They have different type of animals that are coming down from Venom's planet, like symbiote type animals. And in order to put a bow on this thing or kind of like keep people from in a panic or prepare for this war, they have to kill all the symbiote or capture all the symbiote, I'm guessing, which includes Venom and Eddie. So Venom and Eddie are now on the outs being chased by different respective parties. It seems like Venom is being chased by people from his home planet, and things, people, whatever from his home planet, and Eddie is being chased by obviously soldiers and people from his planet. They're gonna work together to kind of do this last dance, and it seems like it's all on the line. Like death is the theme or the subtext is like till death do they part. For the
Chiwetel Ejiofor is, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
He was in
a lot of stuff.
12 Years a Slave, Doctor Strange,
Four Brothers.
Yeah, yep. He was in a lot of things.
He's in a lot. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he's outstanding. Yeah, that was a great summary. That was perfect. That was spot on. I mean, really, I guess I will give this trailer its credit. We've complained about this before when trailers give away too much in the trailer itself. This plays stuff pretty close to the vest. There's not a lot there that they give away. I couldn't tell you what this movie is about. Other than what Marcus said, I couldn't tell you what the big reveal is. I'm seeing some rumors fly around that they're trying to do a tie-in to the Marvel storyline, The King in Black, but I really hope that they don't, because that would make me to not give that your full attention. That's a big storyline. So for those of you that don't know, The King in Black is a storyline that came out a few years ago that was about essentially Null, who is the king of all the symbiotes, finally sends all of his forces to Earth, and everybody has to try to stand up to him, but it puts Eddie Brock and his son at the center as being the one person who can sort of stand up to it all. And they're trying to say that some of the animals that Marcus is referencing look very similar to the creatures that are sent down that way. But man, I don't know. That seems like a really big stretch. And that seems a lot for a movie of this caliber. And I kind of don't, not kind of. I don't want that. I do not want that at all.
So even if it's what they typically, sorry, go ahead, Brian.
No, you do your thing, and then I have an MCU question after that.
Oh, okay.
I more so even if they do the thing where they try to take pieces of that story, because we kind of saw it with the Carnage story, and we saw it with, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. They took bits and pieces of the villain and Carnage, and they didn't tell the whole story, but they just told a piece of it. Is that what you're not wanting? That's
yes. I either want you to do it, because here's the reason why. This is Tom Hardy's last Venom movie, or at least as far as we can tell, it's his last Venom movie. So part of me wants to say, because he's played the character so well, even though he sounds like Bane when he's doing Venom, he played the character so well. There's a part of me that's like, hasn't this man who's put these previous two movies on his back, hasn't he sort of earned his showdown with Spider-Man at some point in time?
Yeah.
Hasn't he earned that?
That's rumored. I have a theory about it, but I want to hear what Brian has first.
Okay. So this ties in. So I was confused, and I wanted to talk about it on the podcast because when I watched the trailer, the soldier, he captures the symbiote that we're alluding to at the end of No Way Home, and and feel free to correct me, but I thought that in No Way Home it was implied that Eddie came from a different multiverse.
He did.
Okay, so I'm confused if that they captured it there. The two ways I logic
stay out there. Yeah.
Are they the soldiers are not traveling the multiverse, or two, is Eddie in the same universe, but he got teleported back? That's the part where I'm like, if you can nail that part, I'll probably be more invested in this movie.
Okay.
But right now it's a little confusing because it's like, you're telling me he came from a different universe, but the soldier guy that he's having issues with is in the Spider-Man No Way Home universe. So I'm very curious how they're going to untangle that.
What I'm going to say is going to sound really shitty. This is from the same studio that brought you Madam Web and Morbius. Yep. So there's a part of me that's like, they're probably not going to address it. They're not going to address it at all.
Third option, they don't care.
They don't give a fuck about it. And they're just going to hope you didn't see No Way Home. That's just...
Or it's because the Sony is still building they look like they're putting a bow on their weird Spider-Man boneless universe.
Yes.
and they're trying to build something that's a Spider-Man villain universe. I'm not really sure what it is.
Spider-Man, a boneless Spider-Man universe.
The boneless Spider-Man.
It's just what it is.
Just a limp Spider-Man on the street that has no bones.
He's just like this like wet pizza, just being like, I'm coming. He's just rolling over himself.
Like,
someone throw me at the villain.
Yeah. I feel like it could go maybe two ways if I had my own theory. When Eddie and Venom disappear, they could disappear to the same place in their universe, right? So the same bar exists. It just exists in two different places.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Or the Venom, the symbiote split itself again, right? So while it got transported back, that one was crawling on the bar in Eddie's universe, but the other one did sliver away, because the rumor is for Spider-Man 4, the black suit will be a part of that story. Unless they have a completely different way of going about introducing, but how do you do that without having a Venom? I think they're both having the same issue. I mean, one has a Venom, one has a Spider-Man. Both don't have each other.
Yeah, I mean, the only other way I could think that they would do it is in the Marvel side of things. You give them a black suit because you're really hoping for that Secret Wars piece. Mm-hmm. But I don't know the timing of things, and that's a lot to have to lay foundationally. So I don't know. This feels really messy.
Sony, messy Spider-Man? We're in our element, folks.
Oh,
I mean, oh my gosh. Like, even how Spider-Man gets the suit in the original Secret Wars is just like, dude literally goes up to a machine and he's like, what's this? And pushes a button and a black ball pops out and he's like, it's a suit. And we go on our merry way. It doesn't turn out to be a symbiote until like 30 or 40 issues later.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm going to give it, I'll probably see it because I want to support. I like Tom Hardy. I like what he's done with this. I think despite it feeling really sort of, they've done a good job trying to give it some level of a through line here. And even though it's sort of felt like with just the Venom side of things, it's been a little all over the place. It's still been good. Like I said, I feel like he's done such a good job playing Eddie Brock and Venom together that I feel like he's sort of earned a Spider-Man showdown at this point.
I agree.
Yeah,
it'll be a different version of Eddie. I think that's a good opportunity to do. Right. Oh, if he still exists in the other Spider-Man universe, Eddie Brock looks different. They don't know each other. Peter and Eddie don't know of each other because Peter no longer exists, and Eddie Brock will be a different version of Eddie Brock in this universe who's not a hero. He will be that asshole. I still think you can get it. I still think you can get that Venom Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think they have to at some point, right? I mean, I feel like they would be foolish not to. That's such an untapped opportunity.
They're also scared not to repeat. They don't want to repeat.
No,
they
don't.
Do it right.
I mean, I think the bonkers thing about this is like Venom and Spider-Man's like rivalry, I think is maybe the best way to say it, is so fun because it always dives into, hey, this is like the mirror version of yourself, and how do you deal with that? Because there's parts of you that like it, right? And that's something that I've always enjoyed about this story of Venom and Spider-Man, and have it always being this like, not Romeo and Juliet. I mean, I guess it could be romantic, but it's just like they are always fighting each other. They are always opposing each other. Like it's the Sisyphus thing. You can only roll the boulder up so many times. Like you have this conflict keeps happening in different ways, which I think is engaging. So it is just kind of a bummer to just not even being able to have these two characters connect in any meaningful way. And like the business brain in me is like, man, if I was Marvel, I'd be like, hey, make this one last movie with Tom Hardy, because like we're taking it from here, or like we need to find a way to integrate it into the MCU. And like that's just kind of what it feels like, even though there's nothing public or any leverage out there. But like I think Kevin, we all know who Kevin is. Like, I think Kevin knows that they need that if they're going to do any more Spider-Man stories.
Listen here, Kevin.
Moving forward. So, and it definitely feels like from Tom Hardy's previous statements, that weird interview he did at like a golf thing, if you remember that, he's like, yeah, can't wait to do, we're doing Spider-Man 4. We're in development.
Yeah.
So it makes me think there's a connection there that they're like, close the chapter, be done, and then we're bringing Venom. We're bringing Venom over to the MCU because then there's a whole lot of other things you can do. But yeah, what a weird twisted tale for this Sony Venom, from a success to just an oddball character in that universe.
And Brian, I think one thing that you mentioned, like I think to your point, is I think that dichotomy between Spider-Man and Venom plays out really well in the Spider-Man 2 video game, because literally Venom in that feels like a Spider-Man is told power, responsibility, like that side of things. What if you just stopped caring about the responsibility piece and you got all the power? Like that there is such an interesting, like it does that port of it really, really well. So
yeah.
Any other thoughts on Venom, the final chapter or whatever it is?
I'm excited to watch it.
The Last Dance. I am excited to watch it. Like,
I still got it wrong.
No, you're fine. I don't know. Like I'm still excited. Like the Venom movies are just fun. Like chocolate and tater tots. Like I still think about that when I'm like really, really hungry and I'm hangry, and I just think of that first Venom movie. It's like, I want chocolate and tater tots. I'm like, hey, that's me. So
got it. Tater tots.
Tater tots. Sorry, I was doing my Tom Hardy voice, and I know you
said chocolate and tater tots, and I was like,
yeah,
that's
Brian,
not what I heard. I was like, please don't eat that.
Yeah.
Together. Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited.
That wasn't what I heard. I did not hear tater tots.
Oh my.
What did you hear?
It rhymes with tater tots, but it damn sure ain't tater tots.
Anyway, that's all I'm gonna be able to think about. What did you hear that rhymes with tater tots?
Tune in to the next episode. I'm
gonna be I'm gonna be up at night with a big list on my wall, like tater tots, greasy thoughts. Like, that's not it. Like,
greasy thoughts.
Greasy thoughts.
THOTS, not the thought in your head.
Oh, wow.
So here's what we got. I did want to talk a little bit about Predator because there was an exciting revelation. So I don't know if y'all heard this. This kind of flew on the radar for me, but we are getting another Dan Trachtenberg Predator movie. I don't think it has a release date, but it is going to be a follow-up to the Hulu movie Prey, which which was set in 1719 and starred Amber Thunder as a Comanche woman. This one though just got announced that Elle Fanning from Mary Shelley, from How to Talk to Girls at Parties, from The Box Trolls. That's not a good one. Maleficent, We Bought a Zoo, Super 8. From all of those movies, she got tapped to lead in that. Excellent. So she is going to be I think the thing against the Predator, and the movie is called Badlands, which I can only assume means that it is exclusively about the song Badlands. In the Badlands. Who's that fucking artist? Who's the fucking artist?
I don't know what you're saying.
From New Jersey. What's his name?
I don't know.
Bruce Springsteen. And the Badlands.
No, the time it took him to set his own joke up was like,
I
still think it's funny. It's exclusively about someone who's a roadie for Bruce Springsteen when the album comes out. But they also said that there's like a bunch of Dan Trachtenberg like stories that are being slated for in development. So THR reported in February that in addition to Badlands, 20th Century Fox has a bunch of Predator projects in development, and Dan Trachtenberg is at the center of all of them. So he's sort of dictating and moving the Predator universe.
Okay.
The Predverse where it needs to be.
The Prediverse, the PCU, the Predator Cinematic
the Predator Cinematic Universe. But yeah, so anyway,
that's what the Google search on Pornhub is. The PCU.
It's just not in that order.
Yeah.
It's not in that order.
Yeah. The rapper in me, that makes perfect sense. PCU, it sounds like, you know what I mean? Like,
I got you.
Yeah. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it for you.
But we were really high on that movie. We loved it. I mean, that was one of our highlights. When we did our movie bracket, that one made it a long way because we were really jacked about, just the story itself was just really, really well done. And so I'm excited to see what they do with it, because I mean, with him back leading it, Elle Fanning is a great actress, so I'm excited to see what they do with this. So
she most recently has been in The Great on Hulu.
Okay.
I've seen a few episodes of that, and she's been super entertaining and great, and very happy to see that they're making a sequel. Like I knew that Badlands was announced, but I'm very happy it's not in development hell and they have a lead and they're moving forward with it, because man, that was just one of the movies during that weird 2020, 2021 time where it was like, no, this is like a movie you see in a theater. And like I had that realization about a quarter of the way through it. So very excited to go see this in a theater, because man, like if it's that same magic as Prey, like I'm in. I have full trust in it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really awesome. Marcus, anything that you have?
Couple questions. Maybe a couple questions, but I just want to highlight some of the things that I did watch on the plane. One, Doug, I left all of your comic books sitting on top of a speaker, and they did not make it in my book bag.
Excellent.
Oh, that's fun.
Not on purpose. Completely on accident.
I thought you were going to say that you left them in Hawaii, and I've been like, oh, cool.
No.
Someone will read them there.
No, I would never do. That was the biggest thing I was afraid of. But no, I got on the plane and was like, time to read some comics. Shit was not in my bag. But
man.
Dr. John Little gave me I Am Bane Part 3. So I read that graphic novel. So
that's
that was
amazing.
really good. That was really good. That was a great read. Doug, you would love that if you haven't read it already.
I bet I would.
Yeah. A couple things I watched. Some of this is over the shoulder of people while they had captions on, so I'm also just
excellent. Good.
I love that you're that guy. That makes me happy.
This was great. I was watching like 5 different things at one time, also simultaneously.
Which for your ADD is fucking perfect.
I was
having a great time. It was like the perfect little slot down the line, like down the road where you could see all the stuff. He was like, "Fuck yeah, great choices, everybody." So I watched.
You three head. You change it.
But the rest of you, I don't like yours. Hey, great job, everybody else. Great job. The Beekeeper with Jason Statham.
Okay.
That looks really good. Great action throughout.
Excellent.
Excellent. I wasn't sure what the plot was, but it's basically every other Jason Statham plot. This guy probably wanted to just take care of bees and be retired and not kill people, and then they made him kill people. So, but it was good. The violence was great. I've enjoyed myself.
There you go.
Bob Marley, One Love. I did watch that. I had that one actually. I was watching, and that was it was like a documentary telling of Bob Marley, with our guy who was the Skrull leader in the Secret Invasion.
The Secret Invasion,
Secret Invasion. So that was good. Then somebody watched American Fiction. And then John Little watched American Fiction and said that was good. So I was watching over the shoulder, so I need to go back and finish that one and watch it for real. Okay. I watched Superman. Of course, when I got on the plane, and then I watched. It was something else. I watched it. I was like, "Oh, I've been meaning to watch this. This was. I've been meaning to watch this." And I watched it. They did have Dune 1 and 2, but I never got a chance to get around to it. So that was like my watching, listening. I listened to that entire playlist of music. If y'all want me to review it, I will do a bonus episode and just a quick review somewhere later on down the road of like the music that I did listen to. And then I wanted to get into reading, but the flights were so long, I was itching. It was so much stuff to like, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. And then I got on the plane and was like, I'm gonna sleep and like watch a movie. You know what I mean? Like that's But I got a great list from Bryan and Doug on things to read and great recommendations too. I bought a Fantastic Four Full Circle by Alex Ross graphic novel in Hawaii.
Oh man,
so nice. Beautiful piece. Beautiful piece.
It's great. Yeah,
I'd have to show it to you. I'm looking at it right now. I'd have to go grab it. But
it's amazing.
So there was that. I had questions. Brian Roush,
what's up
for you? Captain America, the Brave New. I don't even know what the title is. It is on its 17,000th reshoot. What does this mean?
I mean, like, so, right, like these movies, like when you're getting above $100-200 million, reshoots are normal, right? Because there's a lot riding on it. But it does make me pause because it's a lot. This is like the second or third round of reshoots. One is understandable. It's a big movie with lots of moving parts. But if we're on our third set of reshoots, I think it signals to me that it might be bigger than the movie. I think it might be like MCU reshoot stuff, like maybe a character's there that isn't supposed to be there. Or we need to introduce somebody because this other movie isn't happening. That would be my guess for Brave New World.
Okay, I'm gonna keep going. This is just rapid fire. Doug. This one is for everybody. Warner Brothers reportedly wants to make a Barbie sequel with or without Greta Gerwig. Just putting that out there.
Don't do that.
The Boys will probably go longer than its intended 5-season plan. The director, I think, is the one who said no one was more Eric Kerpeke. No one was ever more wrong in all of human history about how many seasons this show was going to go, other than this guy, meaning himself. So there is that. Any?
I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, people love that show. Even if they haven't read the comics, they can say they love that show. So no surprises there.
I mean, I think Amazon, they didn't know what they had. And then when it blew up the way it did, they're like, this is our MCU. So I definitely think it's going to run out of juice, but I still think we got like another 2 or 3 seasons before we get there. And it's so different from the graphic novel, like that I think they'll continue to have ideas for it and draw from it. Because the graphic novel is not, it's not the show at all.
If you like The Boys, don't read the graphic novel because you won't look at it the same. And I've told people that who said like, well, I really like The Boys, and I've said, don't read it. The artist style is really kind of
very different,
odd. Like it's not bad. Like I enjoy it, but if you're not ready for it after watching the super stylized show, you're not going to be ready for it. And also, it's rough. Like if you think the show's bad, think about in a book that they don't think anyone's going to read. Like they like just fucking go nuts. So
Godzilla -1 is on Netflix right now. That's for Doug.
I knew that. Yep, Godzilla -1.
Know that. Oh, that's great news.
Yes.
Godzilla -1 and Godzilla -1 color is also going to be there.
Nice.
So -1 is there both dubbed and subtitled. And then you can, I think they said -color will be there in July.
Yeah, that's a good pickup for Netflix.
Wow.
Robert Downey Jr. says he is surprisingly open-minded about returning as Spider-Man. It's just crazy. This is from a Variety article.
That's a bold move considering he played Iron Man.
Okay. Hey, it's just crazily in my DNA. Probably the most like me character I've ever played, even though he's way cooler than I am. That is via Variety article. And my last 2 pieces. Josh Brolin has been cast in Knives Out 3. I love everybody that they have casted so far in Knives Out 3. That's going to be a very sexy movie. And I'm just excited to hear it. And my last one is Paramount and Skydance have agreed to merge via CNBC.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Damn,
that must have been
that's a big one.
Recent.
Yeah,
we'll have to talk more about that next week. No, that's a big one.
Wow.
That's a very big one.
Wow.
Yeah, all the cast for Knives Out 3 looks awesome. Yeah, I mean the Robert Downey Jr. one. Okay, yeah, come back.
But it's also funny because what's my guy who played Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, also just recently did an interview and said, "I would love if we all came back together." So to me, this is like the setup for Secret Wars, or it's the setup for, you know what I mean? Like it just
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of ways you can bring him back, like. Because in Ironheart, like half of Ironheart is Riri Williams in the comic, like working with a hologram of Tony Stark. That's an AI. So I feel like you could do that pretty easily. But man, this all really feels like Secret Wars or whatever they're going to call that.
Yeah, bringing back the original.
It feels like the 6 of them will show up.
Yeah.
Somehow and help our current Avengers. But man, it sure feels like this is inevitable.
Yeah. Much like Thanos. You two would be very proud of me.
Oh,
I crossed 2 movies of the I can't believe you have not watched that list.
What was that?
I have crossed those off. I've watched Dawn of the Planet of the Apes
excellent
and Rise of the Planet of the Apes over the course of the past week or so. I'm deep in with some monkeys, man. And so, and I was very surprised. I thought I was going to hate it, to be honest with you. I thought that I would find the apes off-putting.
Yeah.
But there's moments where I'm like, no, that's They did a really good job with that.
Yeah.
The one with James Franco, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, that one, there's a couple of Uncanny Valley type moments.
Yeah.
Shit, they figured that shit out for the second. They were like,
figured it out real fast.
And I really like the storyline. I really like the storyline for Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And so I heard the game changer is War of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
I've heard that one's like the big one. So that's next on my list.
Yes.
So who knows? Maybe I'll be.
This is the Matt Reeves monkey universe. Like,
the
reason that he basically got the Batman, I think a major piece of like why he got that Batman universe that he did was how he did this shit.
Yeah. So I'm excited to watch that one next. And also every single meme, every single image of that monkey going, oh no, makes me laugh.
I was just about to ask you if that was what part of your inspiration for sending the monkey saying no meme.
Yes.
Which, by the way, I needed to like find context for it. So I was like, what am I watching right now?
Yeah. Brian, I sent to the chat while Marcus was in Hawaii at least 3 of the monkey going, oh no. Like at least 3 of them being like, oh no.
I Googled this, Doug. I had to Google monkey saying oh no. I had to figure this out because I was like, I don't even know what this is from.
Well, because here's the problem.
Referencing.
The algorithm caught me watching so many clips of that monkey that it was well, this person actually probably just should watch Planet of the Apes, right? And so then it just fed me clips from the first 2.
Amazing.
And I was like, well, fuck, I might as well watch the movie now.
Yep.
So because I had to see how they got from wearing no clothes to now wearing clothes.
To wearing clothes.
Yeah, I gotta see
because that's the important dynamic, the thread that we need to follow.
Yeah, I don't get. I mean, the war. Fuck it, I get it. They made Planet of the Apes. I know what happens.
I get it.
We lose. I get it. This is where this is going. We lose and they're in charge. What I don't get is why'd you start wearing pants?
They won the war, Doug. Clearly, they got
it's all about
pants.
It's all about how you conquer and then become the thing that you conquered.
Look at
that. I mean that again in this one, in the one that I just watched, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Holy shit. There's a line that Caesar says out loud where he was like, I've learned that we are not really that much different. And I was like, God damn. Like that was an incredible moment.
This is still connected to Ben Affleck. I mean, not Ben Affleck, good gracious.
The other one.
Are you thinking of Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Oh my gosh.
I think they're all still connected to that universe, though.
I saw a list how you could watch from Dawn all the way to the Charlton Heston ones.
Because they're prequels still,
technically. Yes.
These are all prequels still. Before you get to him showing up in the spaceship and then I guess traveling back in time or whatever it is, these are all still setups to get to that moment, technically.
Yeah, they're all,
which all makes sense because they did not differentiate how many years he was or what year, how many years they had conquered and been in control. So these are still, if Caesar is still there, that's still early.
Jeez,
because he's the beginning.
And I think he's technically like in the Charlton Heston one. I think it's still he's like Caesar 2 or 3 because if I'm not mistaken, I think the big rumor about the one that's set to come out in theaters.
I thought it was already out
next week, or it's already out. Maybe it was last week it came out. Is that Caesar's dead?
He did.
The original one is. He did. I don't know and can't confirm that. And I just started watching them, so please, no one take anything I'm about to say.
The latest one that came out like at the beginning of May, so that'll be going to streaming here.
Then you know what? Then I shot my shot perfectly and shouldn't have to do any additional work.
Accidental mistake.
I mean, the Fall Guy only had 3 weekends in theaters, and now you can watch that.
And I heard that movie was really good.
I've heard great things about it.
Y'all, this is the thing that we didn't talk about, and because we're coming up on time.
Something about you. What's that movie? The movie that the 2 sexy white people kissing. Listen, I didn't actually watch it. But I kept leaning over because every time these 2, Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, Sydney Sweeney got to kissing, these motherfuckers was kissing for real. I think that the director told them, y'all need to have sex for real in real life in order to have real chemistry. Because the way that they was kissing, That was ridiculous. Sorry, that was the other movie I couldn't think of.
Anyone but you.
They got someone's credentials who were exclusively like dirty sites. They're like, you're gonna do all of those scenes, but nothing else.
Yes.
Mac it hard. Yep.
Kiss it.
Yep.
I don't want Brian to tell me that.
Mac it hard.
Fucking mac it hard. Do it. But that's one thing we didn't talk about was Furiosa at the box office and how everyone is like, another bad box office showing, and it's like, you guys, can we not do this?
I don't know what's going to happen to the movie theaters, y'all. I'm really nervous about it.
It's just so it kind of goes back to what we were talking about with Pixar, but in a different way of like, the movie, we spent $200 million on the movie. Certainly that's the problem. Then they're like, no, that can't be the problem. And it's like, yeah, you're spending like $200 million on spin-off prequel movies that like were already kind of a lucky shot at the box office. Like,
you can't duplicate that.
I don't know who is doing the money, but spending $200 million on this movie was maybe that was not the ticket. Just going to put that out there.
Brian, you know that scene in Arrested Development where Tobias is telling his wife that he goes, I think we should try a separation, like a separate marriage, because that might work. And she goes, oh, will that work? Does that work for your clients? And he goes, oh no, like they all end in divorce. Like it never works. But then he stops and he goes, but maybe for us.
Yep.
That feels what like theaters are doing, because they're like, hey, we could have a really big hit with some obscure hit. Does it happen a lot? No, it doesn't. But maybe for us, it might just hit for us. I don't know what to tell these people. Like at some point in time, there's a reason you can only catch lightning in a bottle once. Like it doesn't happen a lot. That's why it's such a rare thing to have happen.
And it goes back,
act like it happens all the time.
It goes back to the conversation we continually have here of like, where did these mid-budget movies go? Well, they went away so we can make stuff like Furiosa, which I'm sure is a fine movie, by the way. But
I'm interested enough to see it when it comes to streaming. I just don't want to go to the theater for it.
I've heard exciting things about it. I really want to see it. But I don't think that I don't think this was something that was a Memorial Day weekend movie necessarily, like because the other Mad Max with Tom Hardy was kind of like a surprise a little bit. It wasn't a for sure thing, so it's just kind of like, yeah, you could bring back like mid-budget movies, like stuff that you're okay taking a flyer on and seeing if it does well, rather than making like, the thing is like when you make everything a blockbuster every weekend, it doesn't matter. Like there's
no exclusive event anymore. Y'all watched Barbie and Oppenheimer and learned nothing from how to market these things. Like you learned nothing. Market it as an event. Have a little like of a dress up. Space this shit out. But you're right. If everything is special, nothing is. Like if there's everything that I have to be at, it doesn't matter. So
right. Like I don't get it. Like you'd think they would have figured it out by now. So anyway, I'm ready for the mid-budget movie to come back. We all are. Mid-budget action movies. We're waiting for you.
Gentlemen, anything that you all would like to plug this week?
Hey folks, check out Color Me Confetti on Etsy. Head over to Etsy.com, type in Color Me Confetti, all one word, and you will find a bunch of printable party designs designed by yours truly's wife, Maggie Roush.
Brian's about to take fucking credit. Bold move, Brian.
I am not. My wife did everything.
There you go. Marcus, what do you got?
Make sure you follow the mantra, never offended, always humble. Go stream Soul Ties song Link out right now. The song name is Link, and the link is in my bio. Follow me on socials. New music coming out soon. Just make sure you follow the mantra, whatever it is. Never offended, always humble.
Absolutely. I would like to plug this podcast. Hey, if you enjoyed our potpourri episode, share us with a friend or a family member. That is the best way for podcasts you love to get traction. If you're feeling generous, head over to patreon.com/films in black and white. Sign up for one of our tiers there. We'd greatly appreciate the financial support as well. Help be a producer for the show. So yeah, you can check us out there. Gentlemen, we have a 3-step process to success. Brian, lay us on with that funky first step.
Hey folks, as you can see by my Chiron, or maybe you can't because you're listening, it says can't stop reading Invincible. And I'm just here to say, just read, because then you'll trip into a story like Invincible by Robert Kirkman, and you can't stop reading it. You can't stop because it's so good. And I've read I read for 4 hours last Wednesday night. I just read.
God.
I couldn't stop reading. My wife is like, okay, probably gonna turn off the lights now. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep reading. It's
Did you read in the dark?
Maybe
a book light.
I read it on iPad. I have it digitally.
Okay.
So
were the lights off in the room?
So Doug, when you say off, yes, I read in the dark.
When you say off, okay, so they were off.
Say off.
Yeah.
Look, all I'm saying, go get lost in a book. It's such a good feeling. It put me in such a good mood.
Yeah, love that.
4 hours, it might be a minor exaggeration, but like no joke, 3.5. Like that's all I did. I read, I got some tea, kept reading. It was great. Read a book.
Absolutely. Marcus, care to lay us down with that second step, sir?
Oh yeah, make sure you drink some water. Yeah, I mean, I had the pleasure of having to drink water because I felt like I was a little bit closer to the equator in Hawaii. Those UV rays was hitting a little bit different. So I had to make sure you stay up with your water, drink your water, even if that water is $8.95 in Hawaii.
Excuse me?
It's expensive.
Yeah, you have to take out a mortgage to drink it.
Yeah, it's
you need to drink it.
You have to drink it. That's just part of the rules. All right, so just drink your water.
There you go. That's fucking hilarious. Last, I'm gonna give you that last step is wash your ass. It's 80 degrees right now, and it is almost 9:40. So y'all, we were kind of leaning into 2 shower season. Maybe you got away with it. Y'all, if you're doing stuff in the morning and then you're going to work and then you're doing more stuff, you might be in 2 shower territory.
Yeah.
So there is no reason that you can't be taking 1 shower, washing your ass, and not carrying that stank around with you all day. It's hot. Take care of yourself. Take care of your body. Wash your legs. Wash your feet. All of those things are important. So make sure you do those things. So go ahead. Wash your ass. Next week, Bryan will be on hiatus. Bryan is doing some fun traveling. Bryan, what are you doing, sir?
I'll be headed to Tennessee to see those Smoky Mountains. So
all right.
I'll be out there with the family.
Not what I expected you to say.
The kids, that's what they said. That was something they wanted to do. They wanted to go to the forest. My one son thinks we're camping. We are not. There's black bears there. So I'm not doing that. But also, we're gonna do a bunch of other stuff.
Who wants to sleep on the ground?
I'm not doing that.
No, thanks.
But that's for yes. I very much look forward to a classic Films in Black and White episode with Doug and Marcus. Very excited to hear that.
Yeah, this is gonna be OG. This is gonna be the original. Yeah, we're going to be doing some fun stuff. So Marcus and I will be back next week with another fantastic episode of Films in Black and White. But in the meantime and in the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week. I thought you were going to just play the dogs barking.
I thought about it. That was going to be my first thing.
Yeah, we do need that on the soundboard. I like that.
I think we'll add it.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Ain't even setting up no meeting till they meet the demands. Another disclosure out from Netflix. Invested.
Jet lagged Marcus coming in.